What if I told you the most dangerous addiction isn't drugs, alcohol, or fame, but comfort? Yes, comfort zones have become prisons. They look soft, they feel safe, but they are slowly killing your potential. You weren't born to wake up, scroll your phone, work a job you hate, eat food that numbs you, sleep, and repeat. You weren't born to just pay bills and die. You were born to create, to love, to impact, to grow. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people will die without ever living. Why? Because they waste their lives waiting for the right time, waiting to feel ready, waiting for approval. But life doesn't wait for you. It expires. And by the time you realize it, by the time your body is tired, your dreams are too. Don't wait until you're on your deathbed to realize what mattered. Don't wait for a tragedy to wake you up. If you have a dream, start today. If you have pain, transform it. If you feel lost, seek meaning, not distraction. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. Because it's not time that's lacking. It's your intention behind it. And don't think you have forever. You don't. One day, your name will be whispered with past tense verbs. He was, she used to be. They had so much potential. Make today count. Say what you need to say. Start what you've been putting off. Heal what you've been avoiding. Live like you matter, because you do. This isn't motivation. This is your wake-up call. You only get one life. Don't waste it. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose friends and make new ones. You can fall and rise again. But time, once it's gone, it never comes back. That's what makes it the most valuable currency in your life. More than gold, more than success, more than anything you chase. Yet most people throw it away like it's endless. They spend hours scrolling, complaining, procrastinating, or doing things they don't even enjoy just to fit in or pass the day. But every tick of the clock is a choice you make. You may think you're just relaxing or killing time. But let's be honest, time is killing you. Every second your life shortens. You're not promised tomorrow. You're not even promised the rest of today. And still people treat time like an unlimited subscription that they can waste without consequence. The truth is, life isn't short. Life is exactly as long as what you make of it. What's short is our awareness of how little time we really have. People keep saying, I'll start next year, when I'm ready, after things settle down, when I feel more confident. But the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to move. Not because you're incapable, but because every day you delay, you get more comfortable doing nothing. You lose time, and in losing time, you lose momentum. The gap between where you are and where you want to be keeps growing, and you convince yourself you can't catch up. But the problem wasn't speed, it was wasted time. Time doesn't care if you're rich or poor. It doesn't care how motivated or lazy you are. It doesn't pause when you're tired. It doesn't rewind when you're regretful. It just moves, quietly, steadily, and one day it runs out. Imagine if you treated every minute like money. Would you still spend 3 hours watching something that adds nothing to your life? Would you give away your attention to gossip, drama, or meaningless noise? Or would you invest it in building your dream, your peace, your legacy? You don't need more time. What you need is to value the time you already have. To see every day as a gift, not a burden. To understand that your days are numbered. And that's not meant to scare you, but to remind you that you're alive now, and that's the only moment you own. If you truly want to change your life, start by respecting your time. Guard it. Use it with purpose. Because time once gone never returns. And once you realize its true worth, you'll stop wasting it on things that don't matter. And only then will life begin to give you everything that does. Discipline might feel uncomfortable in the moment. Waking up early when your body begs to sleep. Saying no to distractions when everyone else is indulging. Choosing effort over ease. It's not glamorous and it's not always rewarding right away. But what it gives you in the long run, freedom, growth, self-respect, is something no shortcut or comfort zone can ever offer. Regret, on the other hand, is slow poison. It creeps in when the moment has passed, when the opportunity is gone, when the window has closed and you're left with the weight of what if. And unlike the discomfort of discipline, which passes, regret lingers. It follows you, whispers to you, and haunts you when you're alone. Think about it. Have you ever looked back on something and wished you had pushed just a little harder, that you hadn't given up, that you had spoken up, that you had taken the chance? Those feelings aren't just memories, they're emotional scars. And the deeper the regret, the longer the pain stays. People avoid discipline because it feels hard, but nothing is harder than realizing you had one life to live, and you didn't give it your all. The pain of discipline lasts minutes. The pain of regret can last a lifetime. Discipline is sacrifice now for strength later. It's choosing what you need over what you want. It's stepping into discomfort so that you can grow beyond your current limits. Every act of discipline builds you sharper, stronger, more focused. Every time you say yes to structure, to consistency, to intention, you are building a version of yourself that can carry your dreams. But regret builds nothing. It only destroys. It eats your confidence. It clouds your thinking. It traps you in guilt. And worst of all, it shows up too late. You can't go back. You can't redo time. You can only carry the burden of what you didn't do. You will suffer either way. That's the truth nobody likes to say out loud. You will suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One leads to progress. The other leads to self-blame. One empowers you. The other weakens you. One is chosen. The other is forced. So ask yourself, which pain are you willing to face? Because one is temporary. The other is permanent. When you wake up tired, when you feel like quitting, when you think it's easier to just coast through life, remember this: the price of discipline is heavy, but the price of regret is heavier. One day your future self will look back on today. Will they thank you for the effort, or will they mourn the wasted time, waking up, checking your phone, getting ready, commuting to work, doing what you're told, coming home exhausted, mindlessly scrolling, sleeping, repeating, day in, day out? That's how most people live. Not because they choose to, but because they've fallen into the trap of autopilot living. And the scariest part is, they don't even realize it. Autopilot doesn't just control your routine, it controls your mind. It convinces you that life is just about surviving, not thriving. It tricks you into believing that busyness equals purpose, that following the crowd is the safest path, that questioning the system makes you rebellious. But in reality, autopilot is modern-day slavery, a silent, invisible cage that keeps you stuck in mediocrity while making you think you're free. You're not here to be a robot. You're not here to live someone else's schedule, fulfill someone else's dreams, or blindly chase society's definition of success. Yet that's what autopilot does. It numbs your awareness. It keeps you distracted. It robs you of your ability to live with intention. And little by little, without even realizing it, you drift further and further from your authentic self. And the worst part, comfort becomes the chain. You get used to your routine, used to your job, even if you hate it, used to living for the weekend, used to doing just enough to get by. That familiarity becomes your prison, and fear of the unknown becomes your warden. But real life, the kind that makes your soul come alive, begins the moment you break free from that autopilot mode. When you start asking hard questions. Why am I doing this? Does this matter to me? What do I really want? Those questions are the first cracks in the wall that's been quietly built around you. You weren't born to just exist. You were born to live consciously, to wake up with purpose, to design your own path, to do work that lights you up, to connect deeply with people and with your inner truth. But none of that happens while you're sleepwalking through your days. Autopilot gives the illusion of control, but it's actually just routine wrapped in fear. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of stepping into the unknown. And unless you interrupt that cycle, unless you become conscious, you'll look back years from now and wonder where your life went. So pause, reflect, get uncomfortable, break the pattern. Life is too short to be lived like a checklist. This isn't a rehearsal. This is your one. You are not a machine. You are not here to obey. You are here to awaken, and you owe it to yourself to start living like it now. In a world full of distractions, expectations, and pressure, it's easy to believe that freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But that's not freedom. That's chaos in disguise. Real freedom doesn't come from avoiding responsibility or chasing pleasure. It comes from living with purpose. When you know why you're here, what you're meant to do, and what your life stands for, you become unstoppable. Purpose gives you direction. It gives your struggles meaning. It turns your pain into power and your setbacks into fuel. Without purpose, you're like a ship without a compass, drifting, reacting, surviving. You wake up tired. You work without passion. You celebrate without joy. And even when things look fine on the outside, there's a quiet emptiness eating away at you from within. That emptiness is the absence of meaning. Many people chase external success, money, status, applause, but once they get it, they feel just as lost as before. Why? Because they never answered the real question. What am I doing this for? Purpose is the anchor. It grounds you. It reminds you that your life matters, not just because of what you achieve, but because of who you become along the way. When you live with purpose, you no longer seek permission to be who you are. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop needing validation. Your actions come from alignment, not approval. You don't run from pain. You transform it. You don't fear failure. You use life becomes a journey, not a race. You wake up excited, not because everything is easy, but because everything is intentional. Purpose frees you from the prison of should. I should be richer. I should be thinner. I should be further ahead. Those voices fade when you live on purpose, because now you're not following the crowd. You're following your calling. Purpose doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't mean becoming famous or changing the whole world. It means showing up fully for what matters to you. It means doing things that reflect your values, your truth, and your soul, whether that's raising a child with love, building a business that helps others, creating art that inspires, or simply being kind in a world that's forgotten. And here's the truth. The moment you live with purpose, you are already free. Free from regret, free from the noise, free from the pressure to be someone you're not. Because when your life is guided by purpose, no challenge can break you, and no success can distract you. That's the kind of freedom no system, no fear, and no failure can take away. That's the kind of freedom worth living for. So stop chasing empty goals. Start building a meaningful life. Purpose is the path. Freedom is the reward. Most people aren't living their own lives. They're living a version shaped by what others might think. They choose careers that impress others, wear masks that hide their truth, and silence their dreams just to fit in. This fear of being judged, criticized, or misunderstood becomes a silent thief. It doesn't steal in one loud moment. It robs you slowly, quietly, one unspoken idea, one suppressed feeling, one missed opportunity at a time. You weren't born to seek approval. You were born to express your truth. But somewhere along the way, the world taught you to shrink. It taught you to conform, to play it safe, to not stand out. And now you live behind filters, online and in real life. You hesitate to speak, hesitate to create, hesitate to be seen. Because the voice in your head whispers, what will they think? Here's the truth. They're going to judge you anyway. Whether you fail or succeed, stay silent or speak up, hide or shine, someone will always have something to say. And when you allow that fear to control your choices, you give strangers, critics, and people who don't even know your heart the power to shape your destiny. That's not just sad, it's tragic. The opinions of others are just no. What matters is the conversation you have with yourself. When the world is quiet, do you feel aligned with the life you're living? Are you honoring your values? Are you being real with yourself? Because at the end of the day, you don't answer to the crowd. You answer to your own soul. Imagine how many dreams have died because someone was afraid to look foolish. Imagine the books that were never written, the businesses never started, the songs never sung, all because someone feared a few raised eyebrows or sarcastic comments. Fear of judgment doesn't just block your action, it kills your authenticity. And without authenticity, life feels empty, even if it looks perfect. But the moment you stop chasing approval, you begin to live. You speak freely. You move boldly. You create without hesitation. You make decisions from truth, not you stop blending in and start standing up. And when you do, something incredible happens. You attract the right people, the right opportunities, and most importantly, the right peace. You don't need to be liked by everyone. You need to be respected by the one person who matters most. And that respect comes from having the courage to show up as you are, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Don't let the fear of judgment be the reason you live a half-life. This world needs your voice, your gift, your fire, not the watered-down version. Be bold, be real, be free, because the only thing worse than being judged is never being known at all. We live in a world that celebrates achievement, but forgets to ask the deeper question, does any of this make you feel alive? Success is often measured by numbers, money in your bank, followers on your profile, awards on your shelf, but none of that matters if deep down you feel empty. You can have everything that looks impressive from the outside and still feel lost when you're alone with your thoughts. That's because success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. You see people who have made it. They drive the cars, wear the brands, live in big houses, but behind the smiles, many of them are silently miserable. They sacrificed their peace, chasing they gave up their relationships, chasing power. They lost themselves, trying to win in a game that doesn't even have real rules. They reached the top, only to find out it's lonely, confusing, and often meaningless. Why? Because they forgot that success is not the destination, fulfillment isn't something you can buy or fake. It comes from alignment. It comes from knowing that what you're doing matters to you, that it reflects your values, that it brings you joy, not just attention, that it serves something greater than your ego. When you live a life built only on external achievement, you're constantly chasing. There's always a new goal, a higher level, a louder applause. And in that endless pursuit, you lose the ability to be present, to enjoy, to rest. You become addicted to proving yourself rather than being yourself. And no matter how much you gain, it never feels like enough. But fulfillment changes everything. It slows you down in the best way. It brings clarity. It allows you to say no to what looks good, so you can say yes to what feels right. It gives your life texture, depth, and meaning. With fulfillment, even small wins feel rich. Even quiet days feel important. Even challenges feel worthwhile. Because you're not just working for success, you're working from a place of purpose. The most powerful people aren't always the most successful. They're the most fulfilled. They are rooted, calm, lit from within. Their peace isn't shaken by criticism, and their joy isn't dependent on praise. They don't need to impress. They're already content. That's real power. So redefine what success means to you. Don't let the world's definition become your prison. Ask yourself, what fills me up? What brings me peace? What makes me feel like I'm living, not just surviving? Chase that. Build that. Honor that. Because when your version of success includes fulfillment, you don't just win in life, you actually enjoy it. And that's a success worth everything.